Hey everybody, we're back to Sam and Max Hit the Road. So I had to look up the solution after 1 hour of gameplay because we were just wandering around and there's just a lot of stuff I'm not finding. And certainly that is like the problem here. Apparently, somewhere in this room is the closet that we saw in later games. It's just over to the side. So I'm so used to playing point and click adventure games where the screens don't scroll. In fact, pretty much I imagine this is the game that established that that should be the way games play. That it never even occurred to me that there was just a whole other collection of stuff that you were going to need. In fact, there's about 3 different pieces of items that we need in this office before we can even start to play the rest of the game. And frankly, they should have locked us into the office and made it so that we had to find some kind of key to escape the office, first and foremost, before we could go any further.
That's the tuna fish sandwich I made last spring.
So we got a sandwich. He puts it down and on top of the ants pile. And see, it doesn't really line up particularly well.
It's Max's roach farm.
The roaches, not ants. Interesting, even worse. Man, I would definitely not want a roach farm. See if we can grab it.
I
Nope.
can't pick that up.
And then you have just a decent amount of stuff here that you can see but you don't interact with, almost as if they were going with the same concept that we later saw in the Telltale games, where there was a bunch of items that showed up from previous stories, but you couldn't interact with them.
It's a black light that Max uses to illuminate his rare 60s posters.
So we have a black light. Let's grab that. Just put that in the inventory. And so you're definitely gonna have to do a lot more looking.
Max's roach farm.
Certainly, than you normally would expect. And a lot more trying. For instance, like this hole.
All our money is invested in that rat hole.
So you look at this and he says all our money is invested in that rat hole, as if that's just a joke, but it's not a joke. All their money is in the rat hole. And so we needed cash.
Never leave home without it.
Yeah.
We may need it to bribe slippery government officials.
So there probably is a third thing here to interact with. And it's kind of pointless to be in the dark for all this too. Oh,
I can't pick that up.
yeah, fairly pointless to have been in the dark that whole time. Can we grab the coat
I
hanger?
can't pick that up.
Trying to look, trying to see if there is possibly anything else that is of importance. Nope, I think that's as good as we're going to find for now, but we're going to have to remind ourselves just going forward that that is a possibility. Like, at any point, anywhere, there may literally just be a corner in a room that causes the screen to scroll. There may just be items. And on top of this, you run into this next issue, and that was, as far as I looked at the walkthrough, was literally the first 4 things you're supposed to do, where you have to use
It's my little buddy, ready for action.
Max here on the cat, and I'm not sure you would have ever really just figured that out.
I just love to turn this guy inside out.
Ooh, that gives me an idea.
According to these orders, something bizarre is happening at the carnival.
I thought that was the whole point.
Maybe we should check it out when we've got nothing better to do, like any time.
So you get these orders, and they're just like out of nowhere inside the cat. And wouldn't it have made a lot more sense in a... And I get the game is trying to be irreverent, if I can say that word. I get it's trying to be silly, but just for video game reasons, it would make a lot more sense if the cat ate a key to your apartment, to your office, and thus, because he ate the key, you couldn't escape. Also, he ate the orders that was like sitting on the floor, so the cat ate two things. That sets up a tutorial room in the office where you have to find several objects to be able to escape the office. At that point, you know that the cat eats things and has eaten your orders. At that point, you might get some verbal breadcrumbing from Max telling you, "Hey, let's get that cat. Or we're gonna have to get the orders out of the cat one way or another." And so you could definitely have a comedic line of conversation then. Okay, so this has a bomb that you can pick up.
Already got one.
So there's like a different object in each of the...
heavier artillery to take out rogue flies.
So apparently you're trying to pick up these fly swatters that are way in the foreground.
No.
I was trying to pick up the shirts.
No way. Max tried to swallow one the last time.
See, I don't think there's a real reason to talk to this guy.
Sharing this experience with you has reminded me.
I want twinklies. More twinklies.
Twinklies. Okay. So let's see if we can grab
He's
the
not
food.
my type.
Nope, let's just talk to this guy. And
Hey, nice hat.
We all get one when we graduate, Schnucky you. But enough about me. What can I do for you?
let's just
I'd
pay
like
for
to
this.
buy this.
Do you have any money?
Of course I do. Here.
So we trade the
Will that be
money,
all for you today?
which that clearly is.
That'll be all.
Anything else?
Nothing.
See that?
You have no idea how often I hear
That definitely like locks you into a certain gameplay
I don't want to
mechanic. Like you're going to have to go to each Stuckies. You're going to have to get 3 different items to pick up, which almost certainly you would have expected there to have been more to it than that, and it wouldn't have just been go to a gas station.
I
and
can't use these things together.
Interesting. You would have thought you could use money with the gas stations. And very, very repetitive here. Just and I suppose that's in line with what a gas station would be. So we'll pick this up and just try to use it directly on this guy. That'll save us
Do
some
you have any
time.
money?
Of course I do.
Hmm.
Here.
Will that be all for you today?
That'll be all.
And okay. And see, in that instance, he doesn't have the mustache. You're certainly not running into new content here. Like, if there is supposed to be a bigger joke to this or a bigger trick to having 3 of the exact same things, it hasn't revealed itself yet. We have a dress up. I don't know what. These all feel like they are just
I'd like to buy this.
items that
Do you have any
you
money?
would use to keep
Of course I do.
Max busy,
Will that be all for
which
you today?
isn't really what
That'll be
Sam
all.
tries to do. at all. Like, if anything, it's the insanity of the rabbit and the moral ambiguity, if I can pronounce that word, of the dog that synchronizes quite a bit. If anything, you might have a counterbalance to that, in which there's a third character that is a goody two-shoes. That might make some sense, although that character would probably turn out to be a bit of a bummer too. So I'd almost want a split personality character that is a goody two-shoes at some time and then a devil at some other time. So if you were going to add a theoretical, like, female third wheel, someone with a split personality would fit in kind of nicely. Could be a middle ground. Well, not really a middle ground between Sam and Max, but could give a different perspective.
The Sam and Max dress-up book. It's the official bootleg Sam and Max paint-by-number book. It's the portable car bomb game.
Portable car bomb game.
It's our orders from the commissioner, telling us to hightail it down to the carnival. It's a large, sturdy Snuckies cup.
Okay. So it kind of feels like the only thing that we got different here is the order. One. Yeah, you get points when you jump over, not when you crash. But still, this as a mouse controlled thing is a little weird. Certainly this would have been one of the early eras of the see if we can go ahead and just run out of time here. So yeah, I don't even know how you do run out of time. Yeah, let's see. See, I'm trying to hit the escape button, and it's not really doing anything. Yeah. I remember some of the other car games in the Telltale games were like incredibly difficult to control, and it's kind of funny because this is like easier to control. But I basically don't ever want to get into this ever again. Let's see. Well, apparently I found some button that got me away from that. I don't know what button it was. Was it an E or a Q or what? But yeah, we still aren't really anywhere unless we're just going to use this here and blow them up. Nope. We could try the orders.
Check this out, Jack. We're the Freelance Police. Here's our authorization to be here.
So yeah, we really spent a lot of time before we even got past that first checkpoint. So you burnt their orders.
I guess you can go in, but be careful. Carnivals can be dangerous to your health.
I thought you said cannibals.
That was needlessly cryptic.
I'd be peeing my pants if I wore any.
Yeah, the more I think about how some of the Telltale games went, where you ended up in the Bermuda Triangle and you ended up running into like every single famous person you could even think about mentioning.
Well, I tried talking to you, but you were off wallowing in your own self-pity.
So...
Yeah, but... It's them.
So you've got two people
I'm Shep Cushman, and this is my brother.
conjoined
Earl.
back
Welcome to our
by the
carnival.
back.
What's left of it?
I'm Sam. He's Max.
A lot of
sadly
these
protect the rights of
freaks,
innocents.
as it were,
Even cruel,
definitely did
twisted
not
ones
show
such
up
as
in the
yourself.
Telltale games.
Selves.
So
Whatever.
there was potentially
Well,
a
you sound like
artistic
just the
decision
guys
that
to
was
solve
made
our little
there,
problem.
or censorship
Walk this
decision,
way.
depending which way you want to call it.
See this melted block of ice?
How could we miss it?
This used to be our main attraction.
Your main attraction was a block of ice?
Don't be dense.
Our main attraction was a genuine,
Authentic.
real life
Bigfoot.
on ice.
So yeah, it
Hey,
is
let me get this
cryptids
straight. You want us to go traipsing all over the country
that-
looking for a soggy Bigfoot?
that they're looking for is a Bigfoot. So
I've never been traipsing before. Does it
yeah,
hurt?
it's a little weird that
But
they
Bruno
didn't
must
go
be returned to
further
us.
down that direction.
He's a brutish,
Certainly, if I was
beast
gonna
with no
do a
sense of right or
reboot
wrong.
of the
Hey,
Sam and Max
who
series,
is
I
it?
probably would have them look
Besides,
for
he's kidnapped
something
our
like a
second main
Yeti
attraction.
Is
or
that the block of ice?
or Bigfoot again.
No, it's Trixie, the giraffe neck girl from Scranton.
She disappeared at the same time Bruno did.
We can only assume that the monster took her when he made his escape.
It's kind of funny that they want your help
I
when
guess Max and I could search for your missing freaks, but we'll need free run of the carnival to look for clues.
Yeah, and free corn dogs, so we can uke all over ourselves.
No problem.
uke is a weird
Here's an all-day free pass.
phrase I've never heard of.
Leave everything to us, and we'll have those abominations of nature back in your protective care before you can read the Quran.
Wow,
Didn't he fight Godzilla?
mentioning the Quran and as just a joke, that really goes to show where the sentimentalities have changed over the decades. This is a weird game in the sense that it just feels like it doesn't really have much that they could fit on the floppy disks that they obviously were on. So you get a lot of 2, maybe 3, maybe 5 frame cycles of characters in the background, enough to give it a movement. And certainly if you were to compare this to like a cheap visual novel where everything was stationary, there's more movement in this. But then if you were also to make that same comparison, there's considerably less dialogue because they couldn't put the voice acting in it, and they weren't willing to make a game that wasn't a talkie, which is funny, and it kind of dates that this had to have been not one of the very first Scum VM games to have been made. Of course, it's not Maniac Mansion, but there was at least 3 or 4 of them that weren't talkies.
It's a melted
I
ice block.
Guess we're just gonna look at everything.
Ugh. Bruno, the frozenest Bigfoot.
Man or chicken?
Man or
Okay.
chicken dumpling.
Don't even have to read things, do I?
He looks delicious.
It's a fairly giant foot, or it's very much in the foreground. I think the perspectives are fairly off here.
Human enigma. He's a nice guy, but sort of a drip. How Kafkaesque. Insect lad.
And like making a reference to Kafka, certainly
Jesse
is not
James' severed
something
hand. And it's
that
still
you
twitching.
really should do in a game without setting that up and
This is
explaining who
what happens to
Kafka is.
unsuccessful third-party presidential candidates.
Yeah, I guess that comedy still stands up. So out the back we go. Now we've got more things to look at. Like, there's probably a decent amount of clicking here and there that we should do also. And I imagine we very well may spend a lot of time trying to walk around. Let's see if we can open her
I'd better do
area.
something about that padlock first.
Right. See, this feels like a game where you would have had a gun at some point, but we don't have it yet.
I
See if we
can't
can.
use these things together. I can't use these things together.
Interesting. So we do need a gun to shoot the door open. And I suppose the idea of having your partner wander around does imply that there's some trick here. I feel like there's more mini games in this original game versus the Telltale games too.
I can't pick that up.
Alright, so 5 characters. Whack a rat. Now, are we trying to miss or is it timed? Because you can just hit your own guy. And see, that's kind of the wacky zany thing here. It's almost as if this is a game that that is specifically a collection of mini games, and then they put a story point-and-click adventure around those collection of mini games, which that's definitely not what the Telltale games were, where they were straight up point-and-click adventure games. Now that was 26. If I have to do more than 26 on the second round,
I won something.
That's gonna kind of suck. Nope. So the count must be that the number of things I missed on the right. Double dipping is probably not useful. So you can see if you only need to get 20 hits, there's enough that show up. Also, they kind of not showing anything as far as a time limit. Looks like there's about 50. Yeah, feels close to about 50 characters.
Game must be out of prizes.
Well, let's pick up that with our hand. And it's a flashlight.
It's Max. It's one of those impossible to win carny games that have been ripping off the American consumer for decades.
I love capitalism.
Can we do anything?
Pick that up.
Can we use it?
It's out of order.
Alright. So over here, we have a cone of tragedy and a character. And I think it's probably not too crazy to say, use this with this.
Fits perfectly.
And so now we have a black light on a flashlight, which might be useful later. Let's talk to this guy.
Excuse us. We need some help, and although you seem dangerously unequipped brain-wise, we've come to you for advice.
He does seem to be a fairly normal character. But I guess we're gonna just ask all the questions.
Who wants to know?
We're the Freelance Police, and we're in a race against time.
And we're barefoot.
All I know about Bruno is what the Cushmans tell me.
Well, that was useless.
You might want to try the Tunnel of Love, though.
The Freelance Police concept is definitely a joke in itself.
Go, Sam.
Oh, hush.
Like the last thing we need, any society needs, is police who are more free to do whatever they want and impugn to any kind of authority, or not ordered to actually follow, protect and serve, as it were.
Your sadism is a credit to your profession. Me and my partner want to ride the cone of tragedy.
That's right. We've lost our will to live.
I'm not supposed to, but what the heck? You two look like a couple of caring, non-litigious mammals. Strap yourselves in, and I'll turn on the cone.
So we trigger this. I don't know if there's a real reason that this exists. Like, and it's kind of a weird extra animation that they made here. And I don't know if there's a real reason why you would have prioritized doing this other than you thought it was fun or funny, and I get it that at a certain level. So I apparently died, or I guess you're playing as Sam.
Ooh, I feel tragically empty.
Me too. It's as though an integral part of my essence has been ripped from my being.
Let's do it again.
Maybe later, chum.
Okay, so nothing really seemed to come from that. Let's walk back this way and see if there's what's over here. We've got some posters we can look at. We can't look at them actually.
I shudder to think of the number of promising dates cut short by this fiendish contraption.
Lost and found. Let's go in here and see what's...
Holy cripes on toast.
Nothing personal, but you're the single ugliest thing we've ever seen.
Well, there was that computer game developers conference.
Have you lost something?
I don't think so.
I've lost my youthful enthusiasm and boyish good looks.
If you haven't lost anything, then get out of the lost and found tent.
So we're supposed to lose something, clearly. And that's the hint. And see if we can go... Well, that's the Tunnel of Love, so let's talk to this guy first.
Doesn't that hurt?
A lot. I suppose there's a
I
trick to eat.
feel like
I just haven't been able to figure it out.
setting yourself around a circus was a good setting for this game, but it kind of raised the bar, and that's pretty much, I think, as far as they could have ever gone with it.
Who are those misanthropes at the gate?
Just ask all these questions.
Which misanthropes?
The short one with the bad hairpiece, and the tall one with the dark, flinty eyes.
Hey, I just work here. Anything else?
Did you ever talk to Bruno before he escaped?
How could I? He was in a block of ice.
These
What do you
animations
know about Trixie?
are
Absolutely nothing.
unique, to say the least. I
Ever.
feel like the pixeliness required of a lot of drawings, particularly if they're just going to be small icons, makes a
I bet
weird
you can't make your flame
balance.
reach the top of the tent.
Watch me, Jojo.
So-
Anything else?
Maybe I'm supposed to get him to do
I bet you
something
can't
when
make
you do
flames
that.
shoot out of your butt.
Take a hike.
Amateur.
Nah.
Good.
So yeah, it's hard to maintain momentum in a game like this. It seems like we just kind of go fairly slowly throughout the game and just wander around. Whereas I feel like other point-and-click adventure games learned very quickly you need to have more of a directionality
I
to
can't
it.
pick that up.
At the very least, I should know or have a better reason as far as why I'm investigating this circus.
I think this is the proverbial ugly swan that used to be a beautiful duckling.
Like, apparently we're supposed to find Bruno, but why do Sam and Max really care when we know their personalities are of people that really don't care?
Hey, what happened to my carefully collected box of useless junk?
Somebody stole my stuff. Apparently I
Need a
lost it.
free pass.
Interesting. So we lost all of our stuff, and there seems to be basically no reason for
I
that,
can't pick that up.
other than maybe we lost it all on the tilt-a-whirl, Cone of Terror. Interesting. Like, that definitely doesn't feel natural that this is the solution.
Your incredible grotesqueness.
And we came in here before, we just, I guess, hadn't realized we lost it.
Bunch of neat junk.
Have you got a claim ticket?
Well, no, but
Do you think we let just any dog-faced guy in a suit come in here and take stuff? Come back when you got a claim ticket.
touchy.
So we've lost all of our items. And now we need a claim ticket. Seems like we created our own problem.
Doesn't that hurt? A lot. Is there anything else I can do for you? Nah. Good.
So where would we get a claim ticket? Let's talk to everybody, I guess.
Hi? Hi?
So they're gonna make it easy on us and not have these three actually talk.
Hi?
Which then leaves us with just talking to these two.
Which one do I talk to?
Me! Me!
Him!
So I guess we have some stuff we can ask.
Is there anything else you can tell us about your escaped Bigfoot?
Well,
He's our Bigfoot. He's escaped. He's a menace to society. What more could you possibly need to know?
I guess if you think about how
think my colossal head could contain
Maniac
all that knowledge.
Mansion is a very, like, kind of just throw spaghetti at the wall type experience, where if you don't have a walkthrough in front of you for Maniac Mansion, you're probably not going to be able to win the game, or at least get the best ending. And I feel like this is a game that certainly is probably an evolution from something like that, where there are more improvements. There is actually some logic to it, even if a lot of it is moon logic, where I'd say
What can
Maniac
you tell us
Mansion
about
was
Trixie?
almost complete
she's
insanity.
a very caring, sensitive young woman.
If you care about that kind of stuff.
She used to sing folk songs to the other freaks in her trailer.
You ever
But
heard of
by
Scranton these folk songs?
just comparing this to something
No.
like Broken
You don't
Sword,
want to.
where Broken Sword
Oh, there was one
very
other
quickly
thing. She
establishes
likes
that
her men like the Statue of Liberty.
you have this mystery to
Green and rusty.
investigate.
Tall and dense.
Who are those guys we
And you
bumped
start
into out
Broken
by the
Sword
gate?
with a big explosion,
What
moving
guys?
you into the mystery,
One was a short guy with big hair.
where this is just like you
The
can
other one was a
wander
tall
around
guy with big
for an
hands.
hour, obviously, and even when you do get on the
Oh,
path
you
of
must be
actually
talking about
solving the
internationally renowned
game,
recording star Conroy
you
Bumpus.
are still
And his
potentially
assistant,
gonna
Lee
just
Harvey.
be wandering around.
Who's Conroy Bumpus?
He's a loon.
Insane.
And a country and western singer to boot.
He
It's
actually wanted to buy Bruno and Trixie from us.
fairly frustrating
Boy,
to
was he steam when he found out that we didn't have
to
many more.
potentially lose all your items when that was the only indication that we had made any progress at all.
I'll bet life is an unending
And I'm
torment for
barely
you
paying
guys.
attention to what's being said, and it's
Actually,
barely
not so bad.
even a sentence or
Speak
two
for yourself.
per comment.
Where do you buy your clothes anyway?
These aren't
Not a lot
clothes.
of extra.
Our skin is naturally green and vinyl-like.
Good lord. He's buck naked.
So are you.
Yeah, but I'm cute and marketable.
Well, it's back to the Bigfoot hunt.
Yeah. I definitely feel like you could have, if you had the space budget, and I really feel like for a LucasArts game, it really is probably a space budget more than anything else. You would
can't
have
pick
been
that
able
up.
to.
I better do something about that padlock first.
you would have been able to have a lot of conversation in the background. And allow the whole game to feel more alive, as it were, instead of having occasional extra lines of dialogue if you click a box, which is unnecessary.
Will you help me?
Depends. What do you want?
We want our
Where'd
stuff
all
back.
that cool junk go?
It must have fallen out of your coat while you were on the ride. Here's a claim ticket. Take it to the lost and found.
So he gives us a claim ticket, which then lets us wander back around here. And
I can't pick that up.
this fun duck, I don't know if we're ever actually gonna reach inside of that and be where it is, or if it's just gonna be background
I still can't
imagery.
Get over your incredible grotesqueness.
Have you lost something?
I've lost a whole bunch of neat junk.
Have you got a claim ticket?
Sure.
My only
Wait
thought here,
while I search through the back room.
my only thought is he's gonna hand us more stuff than what we found.
All the stuff we've collected off the cold old tragedy today. It's all yours.
I feel whole again.
Let's see. Was there anything new? Yes, there's a
It's a
fish.
powerful refrigerator magnet that says World of Fish on its side. I wonder how that got in there.
And so that's unlocked a new area.
It's the portable car bomb game.
And see, I almost feel like these items might actually unlock more mini games. Alright, well, music stopped. That's odd. We were supposed to search the Tunnel of Love according to the guy. So let's hop in here and see if we can get the music to start back up when we go to a different scene. Yeah, and there we go. Now let's use the Tunnel of Love and see what happens.
Want to ride the Tunnel of Love?
Yippee!
Once again, a lot of animation. Too much animation. Frankly, if I was going to do this,
Better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven. Milton.
Heaven is a place where nothing ever happens. David Byrne.
like, it feels like if I was the person in charge, I would have definitely had less animation, more dialogue. I definitely would want twice as much dialogue as we're seeing here.
A loving recreation of that Evelyn Morrison classic, Revenge of the Gill Guy.
You really should get out more, Sam.
Seems like we've got some real bats.
Just another random acts of violence.
Alright, so this is moving fairly slowly,
An
so
empty flashlight equipped with a black light.
let's see if we can use it on the bats. So we do have a black light, clearly, that is indicating something.
Well, that was fun.
My little body's covered with swan pimples.
Swan pimples, interesting.
I can't use these things together.
I guess that's like goosebumps.
Want to ride the Tunnel of Love again?
Why not?
So we have the flashlight concept, but we may be missing a lot of other abilities and items. So, got some corn dogs. We've got a janitor. And then we have a mummy. which let's punch these buttons.
I can't pick that up from here. I can't pick that up. I can't pick that up from. I can't pick that up from here. I can't use that from here. I can't use that from here. It's a rasp. I can't use these things together. I can't use that from here.
So yeah, there's something there clearly, but I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do with it.
That ride continues to amuse me.
I think we're supposed to do something in there, Sam.
Yeah, we're supposed to do something in there, but I don't think we have it yet.
I can't use these things to.
See, that circles around. Interesting. So, I think the general idea here is to leave this area and check out the fish area. I also kind of feel like there's very possibly not a ton of areas in this game, and they are going to have us
pick that up.
jump around. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like one area here and one area here, maybe an area here, maybe an area there, and then that's pretty much the entire experience. And now we're at the World of Fish, and once again we've got this cutscene where we're seeing Max just wander around. I guess it's not so much a cutscene in the fact that we probably could be doing things while Max is wandering around. Let's see.
Fish feed.
And see, the biggest joke you can have here
You should have thought of that before we left.
is that there's probably something not having to do with fish that's going to happen, or that we're going to have to pick up. Yeah, we have a helicopter guy, and he's stealing a whole bunch of fish. Very, very slowly. Or maybe not stealing them, maybe that's just how they transport fish, although that seems like a kind of inefficient way to transport fish.
It's a big fish net. It's a net with fish. I can't pick that up. I can't pick that up.
What a hunk of filet. I'm naming it Bubbles.
So we're just looking around.
Wretched refuse on a teeming shore. That's a large fiberglass fish.
I don't know if I really like the right-clicking way everything works here. It definitely seems like you have to go in circles quite a bit. Whereas if you think about Full Throttle and how you held down the right click and then you had a circle where you could choose different actions, that was a little bit quicker. Let's talk to this guy, I guess.
What's going on here?
What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. I'm risking pneumonia standing in this creek. That's what's going on.
This is a interesting character to have in a game, certainly.
What do you know about Bigfoots?
My great aunt Lois married a Bigfoot. He used to shed all over Grandma Phyllis's upholstery.
There was a famous Jewish, I suppose is the best way to describe him, director that nowadays in modern times I don't think most people would even recognize, but that's clearly who they're basing this off of.
What's the deal with that helicopter?
I can't even remember his name though.
Is the bane of my
he makes
existence.
an occasional
Every time I
movie
catch enough
and
fish
puts
to fill a
himself in
net,
it.
the helicopter
But
swoops
even now
down,
he's pretty
carries
old.
the fish to the Ball of Twine Diner in Central Dish, Minnesota.
So
How sad.
they
I know,
literally just
it's like
gave
being
us
stuck in a Norman Mailer novel.
they've given us another
Have
location.
you seen Conroy Bumpus?
No, I try not to listen to country music. When I do, I usually have an uncontrollable desire to drink a lot of beer and do illegal things to farm animals.
Yeah,
You
almost
too.
all these jokes would probably be censored by
You must
today's
really love
standards,
fish.
which really kills
I'm allergic.
the idea of Sam and
Then
Max
why do
in
you work
general,
here?
and a lot of the
Because I'm more
edgy
allergic to poverty.
edgy 80s 90s content has long since been driven underground or replaced with just even more extreme edgy things.
I love all your movies, especially the early funny ones.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, I must have confused you with someone else. Don't move.
Yeah, I can't even remember his name. But I guess it doesn't really matter. See, it almost seems like there's absolutely nothing to do here. Like, let's just think about this for a second and see if maybe we need this with water.
I can't use these things together. I can't use these things
Yeah,
together.
this really doesn't feel like a game where you are actually even going to be required to be particularly
It's the
clever.
car bomb game.
Let's see. Okay, so you just use it this way. Alright, so this is just, you sunk my battleship.
Who's setting up your half of the board, doofus?
Alright, so you put down some cars. You click on them and then you drag around and then you can right click to rotate and let's do that. And do that. There we go.
Who's setting up your half of the board, doofus?
Oh, we've also got some bomb returns. Interesting.
Whenever you're ready, take a shot.
Alright.
Miss.
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 Hit.
Interesting.
Miss.
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 Hit.
This is one of those cases where
Hit.
you are gonna want to just
Miss.
work on a pattern until you get some hits.
Hit. You torched my taxi.
So I got his taxi down, although he's
You hurt my hearse.
Miss.
Miss.
Let's see.
Miss.
Miss.
A sound effect is played every
Miss.
click, and it's a slow,
Miss.
long sound effect, which is a bit of a problem.
Miss.
So this
Miss.
is one of these mini games that's going to be really long.
Miss.
I'm trying to do
Miss.
just a kind of checkerboard pattern of sorts.
Miss.
where it's unlikely that you're
Miss.
you're gonna be able to hide things inside of a gap.
Miss.
Hit.
Hit.
There we go.
Hit.
Miss.
Hit.
But yeah, this is really slow. And it's no surprise there either.
You trained my camper.
It's like we can't be that far
Miss.
off from hitting something.
Miss.
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 And for the time, this might have been an acceptable little mini game, and certainly something like this in something like a visual novel might be appreciated.
Miss.
Miss.
This is just not polished enough, and frankly, I would probably be happier just to see it not exist at all.
Hit.
Because
Miss.
this is something that
Hit.
misses the mark as far as
Miss.
interesting and entertaining content by
Miss.
modern standards. And this really goes to show where a game like this would have really felt the need to keep people entertained
My squad.
well past its
Miss.
what would be a modern reasonable amount of time. Like a game like this, if you were going to remake it, you would get rid of all the mini games and you would focus only on the story. You'd probably rewrite the whole story and make it a 5-hour experience at max.
Miss.
But instead, they're taking an
Miss.
exorbitant amount of time to just make sure
Miss.
that they
Miss.
Miss.
So we have like a relatively large
Hit.
car somewhere.
Miss.
And I don't know if the Max is really playing with any strategy at all here, or if he's
Miss.
just randomly guessing.
Miss.
Miss.
Hit.
Miss.
Hit.
You killed my hearse! Of course you realize this means war.
Miss. 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 Miss.
And
Miss.
see, now the game just locks into
Miss. Miss.
playing over and over again. Interesting. I don't think I have anything more to do.
Trampoline.
Miss. Go again, you lucky rabbity guy.
Of course you realize this means war.
So the game is apparently
Hit.
sped up
Hit.
to
Miss. Miss.
give you a
Miss.
chance of losing.
Miss.
Just a whole bunch of misses. See, I don't even know if I'm really looking for anything.
Miss.
Hit. You destroyed my DeSoto.
Miss.
There's barely any places where
Miss.
the DeSoto could even be. If that's
Miss.
still around.
Miss.
See, there's 5 cars. I've hit 4 of them, so I am still playing. The game just got really
Miss.
difficult.
Miss.
It almost certainly has to be in one of these
Miss.
corners.
Miss.
Miss.
Right, there's
Miss.
increasingly few places where
Miss.
3 in a row would
Miss.
have room.
Miss.
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 Yeah, there's really only a couple places left here.
Hit.
Finally.
Miss.
Super slow minigame.
Hit.
Miss.
Hit.
And by modern standards, going through all this, you
Miss.
probably deserve a achievement.
Hit.
You totaled my trailer.
I win.
Alright, so how does one get out of here?
Finish setting up your half of the board, doofus.
Let's see. E, Q.
Lord, I'm tired of this drivel.
Interesting. And so we have a coloring book that you can color. And we have a dress up. See, these are almost like little things you would have seen that would have been standalone elements, certainly. And you just click on them, apparently, to put them on. Interesting. So what happens when you overload things? It just seems to overlap everything. And there's a different collection of things you can have. This is artwork that you almost certainly would have assumed would have shown up in the actual game, and I can almost guarantee you it doesn't. And the concept of paper dolls where you cut out overlay clothes is not really a concept that people do anymore. It's like that was old school before video games existed type content, type entertainment. Alright, so if we know now that is that,
It's the official bootleg Sam and Max paint.
and then that is that, that is that, then we know those are all mini games.
It's a mange-ridden tuft of Bruno's Sasquatch hair.
I think it would make a swell toupee for balding computer programmers.
Don't be stupid, Max.
Then that is that, and that is that, and that is that. You kind of can see how the end of this whole game is probably closer to halfway done. Like, we've got just a couple of couple places we could fill in as far as items. And I would be a little surprised if we even see 3 more mini games on top of the driving around mini game. So, yeah. We end here in a better position than we did previously, at least. Like, we have a new area to go to. I'm not so incredibly lost that I have to immediately look at a walkthrough. I wouldn't be surprised if we do hit that point later on, though, where I do become incredibly lost and do have to use a walkthrough later on again. But it's going all right. It's just going really, really slow. It's shocking that it's been 2 hours. It's kind of hard to have any commentary here without all the commentary just being, boy, is this game old. Boy, does this game not have the decades of improvements that you would have expected from a point-and-click adventure. It's also, I suppose, very weird to see that, to know that the Telltale games didn't really iterate on the improvements on point and click adventures either, and they went in a much more linear experience. Although, honestly, I think the Telltale Sam and Max games still were very much point and click adventures compared to something like The Walking Dead, which completely eliminated any of that, any real options other than small actions here and there and small conversational pieces. It's certainly surprising to see such a small amount of dialogue. It's surprising to see the level of the comedy that's being written here. It definitely feels like these are one-liners that would have played very nicely on a comic book where you could quickly turn to the next page, or you could linger on it if you found it particularly funny. But when you actually involve interactive media, then you have to actually have timing and pacing and just a general theme and feeling of the environment, that all of that is something you can just assume when you're doing a comic book. I definitely feel like the Sam and Max comic books could have been very short, very trite comic books like most comic books. So I doubt they're going into deep theological or heady topics like something like The Watchmen might do, or the Sandman series. I imagine it is very much just a joke comic series, and that probably worked very well. But yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say, so that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.